The officers stepped out of the car, their boots crunching against the gravel. One of them adjusted his belt, glancing at me with suspicion, while the other listened to the woman's shrill accusations. "He broke into my property," she cried, clutching the fence like she was the victim. "We were terrified when he showed up uninvited." I wanted to laugh, but my anger kept it buried. My property, this cabin, had been mine for years. Every nail, every board, every tree I planted out front, it was all under my name. Yet here I was, being treated like a stranger. One officer walked closer. "Sir, we're going to need to see some ID. Step over here." I could feel the party guests watching, whispers flying between them. Some were already recording on their phones, waiting to see me dragged away. My hands trembled slightly as I reached for my wallet, not out of fear of the cops, but from the humiliation of standing there like a criminal outside my own home. The woman leaned toward the officers, lowering her voice, but loud enough for me to hear. "I told you he's been hanging around here before. He's dangerous. Please get him out." That was the moment my patience snapped. I handed over my ID, staring directly at her. "You sure you want them to run my name?" For the first time she blinked, her confident smirk faltering. She didn't know my background. She didn't know what would come up when the officers checked. And when they did, things were about to turn very, very different. The officer held my license under the afternoon sun, squinting as he read the details. His partner typed into the tablet mounted on the squad car. The woman crossed her arms with a smug grin, whispering to one of her guests, "Finally, this creep is getting hauled off." Seconds ticked by. The guests chuckled, lifting their glasses again like this was part of the entertainment. My fists tightened, but I forced myself to stay calm. I'd learned long ago never to explode too early. Let them dig their own hole first. Then the officer looked up, confusion flashing across his face. He turned the screen toward his partner, and they both exchanged a look. "Sir," the taller cop said, "it says here you're the registered owner of this cabin." The table went silent. The smug laughter froze in the air. The woman's eyes widened, but she recovered fast, pushing a fake smile. "Oh no, that can't be right. You must have the wrong record. I'm with the Homeowners Association, and this property falls under our rules." Her words made my blood boil. "I had no HOA. I made sure of that when I bought this land." I stepped forward, my voice calm but heavy. "There is no HOA here. You forged your way onto my property, and you threw parties in my house while I was gone." A couple of the guests shifted uncomfortably. One woman muttered, "Wait, you mean this isn't your place?" The Karen's face turned red, her mask cracking. "Don't believe him!" she screamed. "He's dangerous. I saw him snooping around before." The shorter cop raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, he's not snooping. He's the legal owner." And then, just as her lie started to crumble, another twist came. The second officer pulled me aside, his tone low but urgent. "Sir, we found something else connected to your name in the system. Something she definitely doesn't know about." Her fake confidence flickered again. And this time she looked scared. I tilted my head, curious. "Something else?" I asked quietly. The officer nodded, his eyes steady. "Yes, sir. Military service, special operations. You're listed as decorated." The woman's smile faltered, her mouth hanging slightly open as the words slipped into the air. The guests whispered louder now, some of them leaning back like they didn't want to be caught on the wrong side of this fight. I didn't say a word. I just let the silence do the work. The cop continued louder this time, so everyone could hear. "Ma'am, you said this man was dangerous." "You're right. He's dangerous to anyone breaking the law. He's a veteran, and by the looks of it, the rightful property owner." Her hands shook against the fence, but she kept her chin high, desperate to keep her role as the victim. "This is insane. He's lying to all of you. He probably faked those records. Don't you see? He's trying to take over this place." That was when I finally stepped closer, my voice steady but sharp as a knife. "Take over, lady. This is my land. You're the one throwing parties, drinking my wine, and lying to officers. You forged authority you don't have, and now you're panicking because it's catching up to you." One of the guests, the smug man who had been laughing earlier, stood up, his voice uneasy. Wait, if this is his place, then what are we doing here? The Karen spun around, snapping at him. Shut up. Don't listen to him. He's just trying to scare you. But she froze mid-sentence when the shorter cop pulled out a small folder. Funny thing, he said. We got a call earlier this week about fake HOA notices being taped on doors in this area. The description matches you. Care to explain? Her face drained of color. For the first time, she didn't have an answer, and the crowd that once cheered her on now stared at her like they were seeing a criminal in plain sight. She stammered, her hands fluttering like she was reaching for an excuse in the air. That's ridiculous. Why would I waste my time putting notices on doors? I was only trying to keep the neighborhood safe. The taller officer crossed his arms. Safe from what? A veteran returning to his own cabin. His words cut straight through her lies, and a couple of the guests started gathering their things. Suddenly embarrassed to even be there, I let out a slow breath, then reached into my bag. She flinched, thinking I was about to pull something dangerous, but all I pulled out was a black hard drive. I held it up between my fingers. You know what this is. Security footage. Every corner of this cabin is wired. I already saw who unlocked my doors, who poured drinks in my kitchen, who laughed about me never finding out. Gasps rippled through the group. The man with the smug grin cursed under his breath, looking away. The Karen's face turned pale as chalk. You're bluffing, she whispered, her voice cracking. I smiled coldly. Am I? Because I can play it right here for the officers. And trust me, it's not just...
Up. Two of them groaned on the ground. The one still standing stumbled back and pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. I smiled. Good. I've been waiting for this moment. You see, I'd already filed 2 written complaints about these guys harassing neighbors, especially women, home alone. Nobody did anything. Rick, the HOA president, laughed it off when I brought it up, but I had video security footage. Lena had turned on the driveway camera that morning. The officer who arrived, Officer Janowitz. She and I trained together back when she was just a private. She got out of the squad car, saw me, then saw the 3 grown men moaning on my driveway. I nodded. She nodded back. Want to tell me what happened? She asked. Lena showed her the footage. Clear audio, clean angle, the push, the intimidation, my response. Officer Janowitz took her time, asked a few questions, then turned to the guy still conscious and said, You just assaulted a civilian on private property and then got folded. Like laundry by a veteran in self-defense. You want to press charges? His face crumpled. Rick Thompson, the HOA president, pulled up just as the cuffs went on. He stormed out of his car, barking. This is HOA business. Janowitz didn't even blink. No, sir, this is now a criminal investigation. I looked at Rick and said, You send men to touch my wife again, and I'll file federal. The story spread faster than fire in dry brush. By sunset, someone had posted the driveway footage to the local neighborhood forum. The title, HOA Thugs. Beat veteran's wife, got folded by her husband. Comments exploded. People who'd kept quiet about HOA harassment started sharing their own stories. Turns out these enforcers had bullied half the street, issuing fake fines, barging onto lawns, even threatening elderly residents for code violations. Rick Thompson, the HOA president, tried to save face. He released a sloppy statement. We regret. The misunderstanding and the HOA will cooperate with police. Didn't work. The next morning, 2 of the 3 men were served restraining orders. The third, the one who punched Lena, was officially charged with assault. The police reported the footage, and I made sure to include my own written account, calmly and clearly. No drama, just facts. Meanwhile, I filed a civil suit. Trespassing, harassment, assault, emotional distress. We weren't after money. We wanted the truth on record. Rick panicked, called an emergency HOA meeting. I didn't attend, but Lena did. She walked in with Officer Janowitz at her side and a folder full of printed testimonies from neighbors who'd been harassed over the past year. When she read out loud what they'd done to a single mom down the street, threatening to fine her for having a stroller on her porch, people stood up, shouted, demanded resignations. Rick resigned on the spot. The HOA board disbanded temporarily and turned over financials to a county auditor. Guess what? Dozens of enforcement fines had gone missing. No records, just cash. That night, as Lena and I sat on the porch sipping tea, she looked over and smiled. "You didn't even break a sweat." "I told you," I said. "I may mow lawns now, but I'm still that guy when I have to be." 2 days later, the guy who swung on me came by limping with a handwritten apology. I took it, said nothing. Lena burned it in the fire pit that evening. If you've ever had to stand your ground against an out-of-control HOA, tell your story below. I read all the comments.